Look, I think it's a toss of a coin. I think it'll come down. Look, it'll come down to. I'm not going to say who wants it most because I think they both want it. They both want it with everything they've got. Maybe who's a little bit fresher. You know, a little bit fresher. That could come into it a little bit. Liam's had a few hard fights recently, but so's Eubank. You know, so yeah, you know, experience. You know, maybe Liam's that bit cuter. Maybe that could swing it his way a little bit.
I think Eubank will start fast and probably pick up the earlier rounds. But being honest, that's what generally a lot of people at the higher level do against Liam Smith. Not generally because there's nothing he can do about it, but he sort of allows you to do that. Tactically, he's very good. He doesn't look like it because of the way he fights, but he's got such a good boxing brain, Liam Smith. And I've got a feeling by the time he gets to sort of round 3 and 4, he'll be really finding his range. He'll be really getting on the inside, working the body of Eubank. And I don't think Eubank's ego will allow him to just stay on the outside and try and sort of use maybe a Roy Jones type of style from the outside and try and sharpshoot him. I don't think his ego will allow that. Certainly, if and when Liam gets on the inside and starts getting shots off, he'll hold his feet a little bit more and start and try and get Liam's respect. So I think after 3 or 4 rounds, it'll really sort of catch fire, and it'll be a bit of a slugfest. And I've got a feeling Liam's going to get him out there in about 9 or 10 rounds. I think Eubank's got such a good chin, so I don't think it'd be. I don't mean to. I think he'll get him downstairs. He's a unbelievable body puncher, Liam Smith, and I think, with experience and maturity, he's found a style which is perfectly suited to him, where he makes people fight his fight.
I'll make Eubank the favourite. He's got natural size to his advantage. He's the A side. He hasn't really got momentum of the Chris Eubank, Conor Benn thing, but he's feeling good about himself. People are starting to like him a bit. I think he likes that. And we'll see if we can get underneath Liam Smith's skin. You know, Liam Smith's been about, but he is temperamental. He does bite. But it could be a banana skin for Eubank. Really could be a banana. When the fight was made, I was like, really? I didn't see how the risk to reward was there. But, you know, obviously Smith, former world champion, moving up in weight, but they've made it a pay-per-view, and it's gonna be a big show. Could be a banana skin for Eubank. He's a neat and tidy little boxer, Smith. He does a lot of things well. And it depends which Eubank shows up. If Eubank needs to come, in my opinion, and throw volume, he's going to have to dig Smith downstairs, try and hurt him to the body, and then, you know, just give those sustained attacks, put him under real pressure as a bigger man. Depends how tight Eubank is at the weight. Back down now at middleweight. If he's really cut and really tight, then that's going to be difficult for him. That'll catch up on him. They both get cut, you know, so that could be a factor. I've got to say Eubank favourite. I think Eubank wins, but he's a big but. He's not a massive favourite for me.
I'm glad he's with Roy Jones. Again, not in personal, no digs whatsoever. Roy Jones is a legend, and someone I admire, and I've met a couple of times, and I've got nothing but respect for him. But the way he's trying to teach Eubank how to box, and the way Eubank is trying to box with him, is not good for Eubank. Again, I've been in the ring with Eubank, so I'm qualified to say this. He's not good at boxing, he's good at fighting. He's a good fighter. He's good when his head's on your chest. When he's on the back foot and trying to box, for me, he's nowhere near as good as what he can be when he's on the front foot and he's aggressive and he makes a fight of it. So for me, as a family member of Liam, as part of Liam's sort of team or circle or whatever you want to call it, I'd much prefer Eubank to come out and try and box him. So if he does, I think Liam will grind him down. I think there'll be 6 or 7 rounds gone, and then he'll have to change and revert to type and change the tactics up. But again, all the mind games, all the bullshit you see in the press conference, you know, I'll only have to train and be at 50% or this or that. You know, if you're that sort of lackluster and unbothered about Liam, then why are you getting Roy Jones in? Why are you flying him in? Why are you paying his hotel, his wages, his 10% or whatever you might be paying him if you don't need him? You know, you weren't going to get him in for the Conor Ben fight, which I feel Eubank would have won well because of the size difference. But you need him in for Liam, and you feel like you have to get him for Liam. And like I read a few comments on Liam's latest post where he calls him a silly cunt. You know, that word is a term of endearment in Liverpool. We use it like confetti, as you know as well. It's not really. But the amount of people that are saying, "Oh, Liam's rattled," you know, Liam's just proving a point and just pointing out the point. You said you weren't asked about me, you weren't going to change that, but you're in the gym Christmas Day sparring. You know, Liam was sitting with his family having a bit of food with his family on Christmas Day, taking a rest day, because he's done the work Christmas Eve, he'll do the work Boxing Day, and so on and so forth. You're in the gym making a point of being in the gym sparring on Christmas Day, and I get it. It's all, you know, drama, content, so to speak, as all these new kids say now. And I understand what it is and what it's about, but you're in the gym Christmas Day sparring because you know you need to spar, and you know you need to be ready for this fight because it's a proper fight.
Liam Smith is a serious test. It will be the biggest win on Chris Eubank Jr.'s record that he's had, if he can do it. Liam Smith's world level, and he's stepped up twice, Eubank Jr, and fallen just short. For me, De Gale was right at the end of his career, was not the point. The difference here is Liam Smith, for me, is a better Liam Smith than when he fought Canelo. Is a better Liam Smith than when he fought McGuigan. He's getting better and better. He's one of the cleverest fighters in the country. He's smart. He fights on the inside well. They're both going to come forward, so it's going to be a war. But this is, if Chris Eubank Jr. is not 100% beefy, will win this fight, and he could win it, and we believe he's going to win it anyway. So it's one of those fights where it's really, really difficult to call. That's why we've got such a big fight on the cards.
I'm expecting both. I'm not going to lie. I'm expecting him to start that way, but I feel that way is not going to work for him. So I think he will revert to type, and he'll revert to trying to put his punches together. That's when we'll see if he's still got it in the tank, because, you know, he's naturally fit, but does 160 take a bit out of him? When I sit and look at his thingy, when was the last time he done a fight at a hectic pace like he usually sets? You know, he's had excuses for his last couple. Marcus Morrison was his first fight under Roy. The next one was a southpaw late replacement. Liam Williams, he took his foot off the gas because he didn't have it in the tank. It was not because he didn't. You're telling me he wouldn't have want to stop Liam Williams. He dropped him 4 times and couldn't finish him, basically, because he didn't have it in the tank, and that's what I solely believe. So questions are asked whether Chris can fight at the pace he used to fight at. He's also 33.
Actually, I can't make up my mind now I mean, Junior's got to sort of assess that as a fighter. I can't work out now. The fact he said he's going to be at 50% rather than 60%, I guess it makes it an easier fight if it's only going to be 50%. But then he also said something around the round table where he said, no, he's a tough fighter. So, I don't know. They're different, very different styles. One is a young guy, and you know, Beefy's been in there with some of the very, very best, and he's been around a long time. The only similarities is they both come from fighting families in my eyes, and they're both men, right? So it's not really, I don't want to do a sort of head-to-head with them. What's tougher? I guess if you look at it on paper, with what they've achieved so far in their careers, Liam Smith, you know, without a doubt. But, you know, I don't know what happens with Ben and what he goes on to write. So I don't want to, this interview to be pulled out in 10 years' time, say, look at that, Wally, you know. I'll say Smith for today.
Will we see Junior maybe revert to type a little bit, look to engage more, or is he looking to stick to what you've been working on him and looking to show more of his boxing skill set?
Yeah, well, what you got to understand was that I was looking at the boxing skill set just so when he needs it, he can revert to it if he needs it. I'm not reverting on to change him from being Chris Eubank Jr. trying to be a Roy Jones Jr. and nothing like that. I'm not doing that. I'm giving him another set of tools in his bag that if he needs them, he can use them. So whatever tools he chooses to use in this fight, whether it's to brawl like the old Chris Eubank used to do, or if he chooses to brawl like Mr. Boxing in with a little bit, that's all on him. My goal is to fill the toolbox up with options. Once I fill it up with options, he uses whatever options necessary. It's not my job to pick the options. It's his, but it's my job to help him get the options. So it's my job every day to give him more options to use when he's in there. So that when he gets in there, whatever options he wants, if he needs a hammer, wham, he got it. If he needs a sledgehammer, wham, he got it. Whatever he needs is in the box. You understand me? My job is to fill the box. His job is to figure out what he needs.
The fresher of the two, I'd go Chris. I would go Chris. Chris has got the engine. He's got he's just got that fight freshness about him. Obviously, the more experienced fighter of the two is Smith, and common sense would take you that way. But I'd go Eubank because he just has that freshness about him. He just has that little bit. If you'd have said 5 years ago, I'd have said Smith every day of the week. But I'd lean towards Eubank.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a funny one, and you know, obviously Roy Jones Jr. is a legend in the sport. You know, he's one of the all-time greats. But you know, Chris Eubank Sr. is a legend, a UK legend. You know, he's a fantastic fighter, and there is two styles of Chris Eubank. You know, what one's going to turn up? The one that was with his dad, the one's with Roy. Trainer-wise, you know, I'm not one to really comment. Everyone's got their own philosophies and techniques, but what I will say is there's only ever been one Roy Jones, and I truly believe there only ever will be one Roy Jones. You cannot teach, you know, a kid to be Roy Jones, and you know, if Junior chooses to try and be Roy Jones, it'll be his downfall, I believe, you know. And I think he was fantastic under Ronnie Davis, really, you know, the experienced, fantastic coach. And his father produced, you know, taught him the fundamentals of what he is. And, you know, I think Roy Jones being part of his camp plays in our hands, definitely.
Beefy and Junior, I remember seeing them spar. Wow, again, that's got to be going back now 5 years. And without sounding stereotypical, if the sparring was anything to go by, then we're in for a hell of a fight. But I think when you look at two styles, that can't possibly go wrong. And I believe that the weight, I think Liam will be more comfortable up at the higher weight. I really do. I think he's been a light middle for a long time. And I know it's a fight he's really wanted. But yeah, there's no denying Eubank Jr. He deserves a big fight as well. So, no, it'll be good domestic showdown.
How does it end? I don't know. You're going to have to wait and see. But it will be fun. It will be exciting. It will be a fight that you're going to be able to watch again and again over the next few years. That's the type of style that Liam has, and it's going to gel so well with mine. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
Chris Eubank Jr. victory?
Absolutely.
I think, no, it's a clash of styles, stylistically in the fighting ways, but I think it's no clash of styles outside the ring as well. They're completely opposite in personalities, and it should make for an exciting build-up and hopefully an exciting fight as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's really hard to say because Eubank looked good in spells against Liam Williams, but Liam Williams was really not himself in that fight. So, you know, he didn't finish him, but I don't think he finished him because I just don't think he felt the need to. I think if you just said, like, there's £1 million bonus, Chris, go and try and finish that fight, he would have done it in a heartbeat. Or not a heartbeat, but he would have gone about it in a different way. So there's genuine needle in this one. You know, there was rumours that Liam dropped him with a body shot when they sparred years ago, and you know, Liam will obviously have confidence in that. Liam's a very good sparrer. You know, he walks around heavy, he spars well. He's got a fantastic chin. He's got a very good high work rate. But you know, with the where Liam's attributes is pace and shortening the range and feeling like he can fight close and he can fight at a high tempo. Now, him being up at 160 is going to he's going to lose a little bit of that snap that he has at 154 in terms of his actual punching power. Like, he's not a massive puncher, but he's a good combination puncher. So he'll lose a little bit of that power going up there, but he'll take a slightly better shot and he'll have a little bit more energy to keep going through the gears. And you know, the Eubank that we always talk about, is the Spike O'Sullivan and then Nick Blackwell, and that was when he was on fire. Like, he was rattling off combinations on people's heads and body, and literally he could go all day. Like, we haven't seen that since he linked up with Roy Jones, and like, even though when he was at 168, you know, he was quicker than these guys like Andy Yildirim, but obviously Andy Yildirim went on to achieve not a lot. But you know, and then Groves boxed him, but like, he's never really a 168 pounder, but you know, that he had a great chin, so he could mix it with those guys. Now, going back down to 160, he hasn't looked the same. I still favour him in the fight. I still favour him because I think, you know, when he hasn't been pushed and he hasn't been in a hard fight. Obviously, sorry, he beat De Gale after, but De Gale was well past it. But he hasn't been pushed when it comes like of late, you know. But I think when he is in a competitive fight, when he is having nip and tuck rounds, which he will have with Liam, because Liam's a very good fighter, I think he'll go back to his old ways, and I think he's got that engine built in him, you know. And he lives a life. He doesn't balloon up and down. He's got a great chin and he's got a fantastic work rate. He just hasn't been relying on it recently, but I think he'll need to rely on it. And I think he'll have that in reserve, and I think he'll win. But I don't think he'll win. You know, I think he'll win on points.